Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, guys? So, for those of you who don't know us, this is Nathan,
Nice to meet you.
my business partner. I'm Aldo. We've been on quite the journey last year. So,
Yes, sir.
figured we'd sit down and also get in the habit of making more content.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got a nice little script here. We're gonna run through, touch on a couple topics, mainly just reflect on 2022.
Exactly. So, where should we all start with this? I would say, I guess really the biggest topic at hand is how do we meet?
So that's gonna be a good networking story for those who want to kind of learn how to find their people.
For sure, I know there's a lot of horror stories out there when it comes to networking, but there's a few things that are just miracles, I would say. So, I mean, how did this all come about? How does all get started?
So I'm gonna start from us meeting through Go Vic.
Mm-hmm.
So we each actually paid someone to mentor us. That's pretty good advice for most people, depending on what you're trying to do. Pay a mentor.
For sure.
So this was in like the peak NFT crypto craze.
Yes, so probably about, as I said, about a year ago, to
September
really when exactly
2021.
bull runs, everybody was going crazy. Inflation was parent, and yeah, everybody was just going crazy. Pumps, and pumps.
Pumps.
A lot of pumps. So I mean, we met in a group chat actually, which is kind of crazy. Met in a group chat.
Was it the clothing brand one or was it sports betting?
I think it was the clothing brand one, and funnily enough, I was actually at the time telling people how I used to know a thing or two about NFTs, and I used to tell people, hey, I have a beginner's guide for you to kind of wrap your head around the concept. I know it could be kind of daunting to some people just to get started because there's so much information out there. And I guess that's how we kind of started learning from each other, just kind of how we met in a way.
So, alright, let's actually run through it now.
Let's do it.
So, I don't remember what the first message was. I think I had seen you get reposted or something, but
I think, one of Vic's stories, I think.
yeah.
He had me as a mention. I forgot for what, honestly. It's been a year.
I don't remember the actual post, but I remember seeing a story.
Yeah.
And we were both trying, we didn't know this yet, but we were both trying to network with people and find like running mates. And so I bet I probably reached out to other people. I think I did.
1,000%. I feel like at that age, you're just trying to meet as much people as you can and just trying to say
That
yes
age,
to everything.
a year ago?
No, but honestly, at that stage as an entrepreneur, like you're trying to say yes to everything. Like everything could be a risk, but everything could be an opportunity. So like you're just like a bee. You're trying to go to every type of flower. Yeah.
Nothing to lose. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure I either just followed you, I may have DM'd you, but I think I looked through your stories and you already seen like the NFT stuff.
Yeah, most likely.
And so what were you doing then?
So I used to do some type of mentorship, but kind of funny is I used to have two guides I used to sell, and just inform people about an intro to what are NFTs, kind of to wrap people's head, as I said a little bit earlier in this video. So kind of just telling people like what are NFTs, what's the use of them, how can you make money out of them, can you make money long term, is this more of a short term thing, how sustainable is it, really just to give a random person that has zero knowledge about NFTs what exactly are they and what's the use of them. And of course I had something that's a little more advanced for people that really want to get into it and actually start making money, let's say flipping them. Honestly, just the whole gist about like short term use cases of NFTs and long term use cases, and it interested Aldo at the time, and that's where he decided to hit me up.
That's when I was taking on everything. I was doing sports betting, I had clothing brands. I think I was even doing I was an assistant for web developer.
It's good, you gotta just have as much type of people around you that are doing things that you aspire to be like, web developers. You just gotta be a sponge at that type of stage in your life,
And then, but where I was taking that is, so I was trying things, and then you were offering like a $75 a month mentorship for NFTs.
Freaking super expensive back then, but it was something crazy like that, and it basically just taking people under my wing. And honestly, at the time, I would say now that where I am right now, it's like I didn't know what I was doing, but I kind of knew a little bit. So of course, for $75 a month, you get about $75.
You were for sure winging it back then.
For sure, but you have to fake it till you make it. And I was definitely, trying to put all of as much game as I could when it came to, NFTs, when it came to crypto in general. just like giving him as much game as I could as a mentorship, right? Taking someone under my wing. And what did you think about my mentorship back then, man?
I mean, damn, I need to. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was. I remember the main thing that I needed was like a running mate, and what that pretty much bought me was like a running mate, because
1,000%.
from then we were doing all those like mints, we were in all those discords. I mean, we were even like, we were trying to move up and like do the, what was it called, like the admin stuff.
Yeah,
for the
1,000%.
discords.
Yep.
Huskies.
Man,
oh my
a lot of shit. So I feel like all of that just made us closer and closer. You know, of course we had that type of dynamic that I was the mentor and he was the student, but honestly when it came to actually us talking, we just always met at kind of an eye level. And actually it came to a point that, you know, we were making some good money, you know, with him under my wing. Of course he was getting his $75 worth every month. And what happened is at some point he gave me a very interesting proposition that, you know, I couldn't say no to. Would you like to kind of inform me what that was?
Yeah, let's run through it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because like back then, like the good money was like we'd make like a couple hundred off of mints, or
yeah, something like that. It was like a quick flip. We made a few $100, and we were over the moon at that point.
It was more the chase and like the experience and like feeling like we were a part of something like so big.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it was also just seeing that you can make money digitally, which was crazy to me back then. Like,
for sure.
Going from a 9 to 5, having multiple 9 to 5s back to back, you know, having 1 or 2 jobs, 3 jobs sometimes at the same time, and seeing that, wow, you can actually make money online. It's not all scams and all that, because people that think that, you know, things are scams, usually just doesn't have as much information as to what it is, right?
And
a lot of people fear what they don't know.
I mean, shit, we've been scammed. We've lost thousands.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
But like, in the grand scheme of things, you got to take those types of risks, because we don't really think about the money that we lost or got scammed. I mean, shit, we got scammed this week. Like,
honestly, it's mostly about learning from, you know, the mistakes, learning about, you know, human behavior, human like just building of character, judging of character, stuff like that. You know, you learn a lot from losing a few $100, and you won't lose those few $100 in the future, right? So I see it as a good lesson on you know, on all, obviously. So what made us be partners? You know, what was the interesting proposition you came about and, you know, and offered me, man?
I know the first business, but how did I actually
convince me?
How did I convince you? I don't remember.
You wanted to go about that? I think I remember a bit.
Did I convince you of starting a business, or just like being business partners?
Because you convinced me of being business partners, and then you had a business idea when you came with me. So something that you did was very, very smart. That a little hint of advice for you guys is always come into relationships, or when you're trying to build a bridge, with some type of value with you, right? Because if you're a nobody, if you don't have any type of value, just come to someone that has some type of value or any type of knowledge in something. They'll be like, well, what do you offer me when it comes to value, and how can this be a mutually beneficial relationship? And he was smart back then. He was a smart kid. He still is a smart guy. So basically, he came to me and he was like, I know I'm your mentee, and I know that if you want to keep making $75 out of me every single month, we could keep doing this, but if you do see the long-term vision and how we could be business partners, and
I know I hit you with that exact line too. I was like, you could keep making $75 out of me, or we could try this.
He was already a salesperson, which was crazy. He was trying to sell me already. But basically, he came to me as he said, you could keep making $75 off of me every single month, or if you have like some type of long-term mindset, how about we partner up on something and make way more than $75 every month, right? I don't know how much 75 times 12 is in a yearly basis, but it wasn't much. So going off of that, it was really where everything kind of started from, you know?
Yeah, I mean, on your side, it wasn't much risk to like, all right, well, $75, I guess I'll try this out for a couple months.
He had pink hair at the time, you know, so I was like kind of apprehensive, like, should I really partner up with a kid that has pink hair? God. But he has cool tattoos. I mean, it's a give or take, right? It's a give or take. So I took the risk, as a lot of people do that at that age.
My boy took the risk. Mm-hmm. I was definitely like all clothes. Like, even though I had business aspirations, I think that I was really clothing brand oriented. Like, so I had a much more like artsy appearance and like
1,000%, a really creative type of guy.
I didn't realize until obviously now I understand that appearance, you know, does play an effect in business and stuff. And so like back then, like I was wild.
Yeah, you were really out there. For me, I was kind of the conservative type of. I still had kind of like high school fashion, you know, like Nike sweats, tracksuits. So me seeing a guy with like hot pink hair and like crazy colors and crazy jeans, crazy shoes, it was like that's really out there. That's kind of out of my comfort zone. I didn't know it was gonna click, and miraculously it clicked. You know.
Facts.
But aside from that, that's how we met. And you want to talk a little bit about what was our first business that we kind of.
Okay, yeah. So that's where we were. So I had convinced you of, okay, like I don't think it was much of a window between when I had convinced you to like
start the business,
to go into some sort of business before I actually had the business idea. Now wait, so did I have the idea of YMC, or did we?
We had the idea.
I had a very rough draft, per usual. I think I had the rough draft. I told you like, yo, let's do a financial education. I don't know if it was that far, but I know I was like, yo, let's teach other people, other kids mainly, about like credit. That was the main stuff, is credit and just like finances, and also mindset for sure.
So a lot of mindset, personal finance education, a lot of methods of making money online or in person.
Yes.
A lot of skills that you need to know when you're starting to build relationships, especially in business, and just life advice, honestly. So I remember when he pitched it to me, I was like, well, this is really smart. And I mean, at that point, I was super knowledgeable in business at all, honestly, but I was like, I see there's a need for kids to know more about what is money, what are mortgages, what are taxes, what is credit, what's a credit score, how can I get a better credit score, what does credit score really affect me when it comes to day-to-day life. So like a lot of like very interesting questions that I feel like kids just wouldn't know enough. So to me, it was very, very interesting, and I thought, you know what, this is a great business plan, but how can we actually take the plan from an idea to put it on paper, then actually bring it into action? And that was something that was mind-boggling to me back then. So,
that was probably the most fun I had ever had in business up to that point, was creating like the first like business plan and just mapping everything out, and having someone else to like, that was for sure my first time, I don't know for you, but that was for sure my first time having like someone else I was in business with.
To me, it was also, I would say, about my first time. I would say anything in the past, when it came to I had some clothing brands as well in the past, it was more of a partnership. But when it comes to partnership, think about it more as like a high school type of collaborative team. Exactly, school project. I feel way more like that type of dynamic. It was like, well, let's all come with mock-ups together. It didn't really feel like a business collaborative, right? Looking at finances, looking at, okay, so what who owes what to what, like who, it was way more of my first, I guess, business type of relationship that was serious. But it was definitely crazy to me. It was a crazy learning experience, and honestly, I'm very grateful that I fell on you, because going from what I know now,
we lucked out.
The probability of you finding a good business partner who is your like first quote unquote business partner is so like rare to find a good one, because as soon as you get, let's say, your first, which is normally a bad experience, you become very, very apprehensive of other people, and when it comes to mutually beneficial relationships or even partnership, joint ventures. So I was very, very lucky that I was able to find a good business partner on my first go. And honestly, we did a lot together. We're currently even doing more, and it kind of started things more than YMC, and things such as marketing agencies back then, which was honestly not that crazy. It was not that
we'll get into all of that.
Thing.
We're gonna run down kind of that timeline from like we've been in a stable, like we've been kind of doing the same things for the past 6-7 months, since July?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean longer.
Honestly, just evolving, learning the same stuff, but just learning better and better.
I mean, we were super involved with scaling, the agency. So besides for that, I guess before that, I guess we kind of keep rambling around what YMC was. So the idea that I came to him with, we talked about, is generally teaching other kids stuff, but like, let's talk about the process and the time it took to scale that and build it. Because we had at the peak, which it was impressive back then. We had 56 subscribers, in the Discord.
Yeah, around.
Oh, I think it did get to 60 after.
But about 56, 60.
When I was really paying attention and stuff, it was like 56.
Yeah. So honestly, a lot of people, and one of the biggest things we really wanted to hone in on YMC was honestly the fact that we wanted to make financial literacy affordable to anybody that actually had any type of interest in it, right? So we priced it, I think, was it $15 a month or was it 25? Something like that.
It started out at 20.
Yeah.
Then we played around with bumping it up to, or bumping it. I don't remember. At one point we bumped it up to 25. Then we bumped it down to 15. 15 we had a big month. I remember like I think we grew like 20 big month back then. We grew
Big
like
month,
20 subscribers.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, the money, like,
a month, something like that.
I don't even really remember. I know we made a couple grand, but like I don't remember the money from it. I just remember like the mindset, the learning experiences, like
it really made us realize what is a community of like-minded people that had common interests. For me, that was crazy.
This was Hustlers University before there was a Hustlers University.
Yeah, something like that. So to me, it was really about making financial literacy available to anybody that had some type of interest in it, right? The way I used to kind of talk to people about it is like, well, if you really want to take your education when it comes to your financials to the next level, you could save up on 2 McDonald's meals before, and invest that to your education, right? About $10 a meal should be about $20, $15, and you should be able to put that towards a month of just be able to learn. And the only thing that would be able to justify if you really learned or not was all the time that you invest into the actual program.
For sure.
Back then it was a Discord, and I remember we were still thinking about, okay, so how can we make this on which platform should we do this? Should we do this on Instagram, group chats? But then we were like, Discord would be the best go at this. And yeah, we definitely learned a lot from that.
I mean, honestly, I think it was such a miracle that we had that business plan that we had to build, because like if we did, like obviously we both had experience in clothing brands, but the business aspect to that, it's very different. Like this, we had to learn, like clothing brands is very marketing and I guess
branding in a way.
I was gonna say marketing, branding, but also like you have to really understand your audience and your targeting and stuff.
Customer psychology, what they like, what they don't like, kind of hype things up. Yeah.
But it's on a bit more of a basic scale. You could get by with just having really cool, merch,
design.
graphic.
Like at the beginning, if you have some really cool stuff and you're able to just very basically market yourself and have a social presence, you could definitely make some.
You could kind of get lucky with clothing brands, but with, I guess it's so different because we were selling ourselves because we had like a face behind it. Like we had to sell them on the people rather than
of course
just the product.
Because things like the product wasn't flashy. It wasn't like cool designs, like for example something like these pants. It was really something that seemed boring to people. Like
it was
who
niche.
really wants to learn about variable rate mortgages, right? Does that sound really flashy to you? Not really, right? Especially to a 16-year-old, like I don't care about that.
We got into so many different like lanes with it. Like I know I had talked about mortgages. There was so many different like
subsections of like financial literacy, right? So it went from like modern like wealth creation methods all the way to honestly just, as I said, financial literacy, knowing about what is your money doing, what is money, and like also about mindset, about just general life mindset, how to stay positive as a person. It really went to such different avenues, but it was basically all to englobe the fact that you had to be all of these things to really become to have like a strong foundation, I would say.
That's gonna be way longer than 15 minutes. I think we may have to chop it up, but let's keep going. We're having fun with this.
For sure. So I say we should start talking about, how did Set come about? How did like all of that journey come about? Like,
well, before wait, I want to wrap up the whole YMC stuff real quick. So YMC was pre-Hustlers University, and it was called Young Millionaires Club. Like it had a very self-explanatory name. Like we just wanted to help people, progress towards making their first million. And secretly, it was us. Like everything that we were putting in there, I'd say it was kind of like a note for us. Like it's all the stuff we had learned, all the things that we took as like core principles, just all the game that we were using, and then just kind of reselling to.
Yeah, it was like basically just us taking all the knowledge we can and being able to filter it as like, is this good or is this garbage?
Because the bread and
whatever
butter,
we were able to take in and identify and resonate with, we were able to put it to the group chat.
The bread and butter of that was definitely the clothing brand building.
Yeah,
we had probably like, I'd say 1 in 4 people that was in YMC was there for the clothing brand building.
Yeah,
if not even like half.
Something that we learned was chase the niches. Something that's niche would always be a little bit better than something that's too general. and that's something that we didn't even learn back then. But something like this kind of shows the case of that.
We were right on track with that too, because I was when like peak everybody start clothing brand, but it was before it got viral on like TikTok. Like once TikTok got a hold of like the self-help and like hustle movement, it was over. Everything's done in like 2
This was
weeks.
before the wave actually. This was like I think really at the start of the bumps and
We were early, yeah.
We were super early, yeah.
But okay, so yeah, let's run through. So we had YMC. We ran that for what, 3 months?
That was quick. Yeah, 3 months.
So that was from December to February, and then we're not gonna mention the name of High Ticket Sales.
So yeah, we got recruited by a High Ticket Sales.
It was a celebrity giveaway. So like, it was a marketing company, but they focused on campaigns with celebrities and cats wild but so these campaigns, they were all paid spots where you do a giveaway with a celebrity, and you guys have seen them. They're like the required follow spots. You pay to get in them, and then you get 10, 20, 30, 40,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
The whole,
9 yards.
Now, that was a turning point for us, because was that February or was that?
To be fully honest with you, I really suck when it comes to anything that's like actually like putting timelines with things. All I remember is like I was working about 3 jobs. I was also in college in my first semester learning business administration, so life was kind of all over the place.
You had the bank job, you had the tea spot, you had
bank, tea, and I think was actually bank tea in college actually, which was something that would take as much time as actually like a part-time job or a full-time job. So
that's funny.
It was crazy.
I don't even remember you being in college back then.
Yeah.
I don't even remember you telling me like when you dropped out.
I will talk about the story when I dropped out. It was a pretty crazy story.
Wait, no, that's another podcast.
That's another podcast, exactly. We're gonna have to cut it, bring it somewhere else.
We'll get in depth on like us
the schooling system,
quitting jobs and dropping out. So I dropped out of high school. We'll get into that whole story. So yeah. Okay, yeah. So I think it was February or it was March, because everything happens. I could break this down real quick. So March, somewhere I'd say between the 1st and the 13th.
Yeah.
13th is my birthday, and there's a reason why this is all notable. So sometime in between the 1st and 13th, I approached Mr. We won't say his name, but sent out a nice DM. My networking skills were coming in clutch then, and he responded right away. It was for opportunity. He was hiring for a sales team, and so I pitched him. Of course, I was like, I have a group. I told him about like how we have YMC, and there's a lot of people who would like something like this.
For sure.
And so he knew that I had a team that I could bring. Plus, I told him I had the team with you and Cam.
He always came in with value in every type of proposition. That's something I've learned.
I had leverage even when there's no leverage really. But yeah, so I came and I told him like, look, I could bring a couple people onto this sales job. And he responded right away. He was like, holy shit, this was the best like application I've had. And I was shocked. I was super hyped. And back then we were but also back then we were just taking everything,
For sure, no, yeah, we're saying yes to everything. We were just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks and going with it.
Because we had that 10K month, like just
milestone. It was like, oh my god, it was like shining on gold. I was like, oh my god, 10K a month is $120,000 a year. That's mind-boggling. Like only lawyers make that within a few years. That was crazy to us.
And as a high school dropout, ooh, that would have been perfect bragging rights.
Oh yeah, and so everything back then was about bragging. It was like, oh, I'm better than you. I'm making 10K a month. Like I am their shit, right?
We had those.
That was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy.
So okay, let's dive through it a little bit. So
sure.
we get on this team, and I mean, training was like next day or something.
It was really fast paced, honestly. For us being kind of beginners, somewhat to sales when it comes to like high ticket, everything was very high paced.
Yeah, they had a solid onboarding process.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
first, I don't know how we started I don't know how we got good at it, but it was really just we jumped on it. So first week, I'd say we got trained. I think within the first, I don't know if anybody else ever did that before us, but first week, I think it was like 3 days after we got trained. Who made the first sale? Do you know? Was it me or was it you?
I think I did. I did my first sale on the first day I was there, actually. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
My fault.
Yeah, it was crazy back then, right?
Yeah.
Crazy bragging rights. So I remember my first day of I actually understanding the concept of what it was after the actual training process, which was very high paced by the way. Like, they trained us within like 3 days, and this was like training complete newbies to sell like $700+ products. You know.
I mean, I think we know by now we do have a bit of a knack for selling.
Yeah, no, it was very much of a that type of environment was very much of a either you're extremely good or extremely persistent or sometimes a very high quality type of trait that you need to have or multiple of them to be able to make it in that industry or in that type of sales.
And also they paid more attention to the ones who were good. Like we
1,000%.
We were favored for sure.
Very favored. So this type of environment was like either it was very much high pressure, high pace. Like either you make it and you show some type of value, or you kind of disappear within the group, right? There's at least a few, like what, 60 people. Like what from what I remember, it was like there was like hundreds of people there, but there's only a few coming to the each meetings, you know. For
it started out when we joined, there was just 40.
Yeah.
And then next week it was like 60. The week after it was like 120.
Yeah,
they were just recruiting a bunch of people, but half of them wouldn't even show up or
wouldn't even text. You know, it was kind of dead end. But basically, just to wrap it up, kind of within the first week, I made my first sale within the day, and I think I made a few more sales. I can't exactly remember the amount of sales I've done within that first week.
I think that's what put us in the position now. Like, now that I kind of think about it, like you built rapport with me by I was able, or I didn't even use it like this, but like to them, okay, so Aldo brought this dude.
Yeah.
He made a sale, and then within 3 days, I made my first sale.
Yes, sir.
And shit, it was history. Right after that, like we just.
Yeah, I remember. I think within that first week, I made about $4,000, and to me,
back then
that was US dollars. So keep in mind, I'm from Canada, so $4,000 to a seemingly broke college student that had 2 jobs, probably making, I don't remember how much I was making. That was at least maybe double my salary back then, because that's about maybe 5.5, maybe 5.5 grand Canadian. I'm not sure, but with inflation, probably might be even more. But to me, that was mind-boggling. Within a week, I made that much, and within a day, which I made about 1,500 or something like that. So to me, it was like, holy shit! I made as much as like my weekly salary or more within one sales call, and that really just completely like boggled my mind because I was, you know, in a super high-stress bank job, and you know, just getting treated like shit. And just like super stressful. It was like I just started that job, and I was the youngest one there, and like it was very high stakes with like, and you're being paid close to the minimum. So it was very much of a I didn't see the point of even working there because I was, you know, making so much money at, you know, this new job.
And let me touch on that. So what ultimately ended up happening is we all quit our jobs, but like I think I was the first one to I was the first one to do it. So. First week we all made sales, and then after that I'd say in the first month first week was really good. Then I think we had like a 2 week, I don't know, no, maybe that was just me to be honest, but I think I had like my first sale, and then I had like a 2 week period where I was just hungry because I couldn't get any more. I think it was for sure discipline, it was for sure habits and stuff.
Yeah.
But so what ended up happening is I get another sale, and then I realize like I gotta quit my job. And so that's what ended up happening is, oh my god, no, technically I didn't quit. So I had the thought I was going to quit, and then 3 days after my birthday is when I got fired. But I say I quit. So
reverse card on that.
I mean, shit, it was the same thing to me, but honestly, I just wanted out, so...
For sure. No, as soon as you realize that little crack in the matrix, you're like, holy shit, this is not the way.
The first sale, I was super hungry, so I think I only made like 1,000, and cats, oh my god. I think I only made like 1,000 that first sale, and then I had that dry run. No. Honestly, that first sale I think was like 1,500 or something. So I was hyped. It was more than like a 2-week check.
It's crazy.
And so I think I make that second one. I don't even remember what the second one was worth, but whatever it was, I was like, yo, now I gotta quit my job so I can focus on this, because if I just make one sale, I make more than I make in my job.
Yeah, you're able to. That was crazy because you're able to, like, I work so and so hours to make so and so cash guaranteed, but I could risk about these much hours to make this much more cash. So why not just do that, right?
It was such a small risk, but it would have took me, you know how I mean, not how I am anymore, but you know how I was scared to jump on things quick. This dude is the reason I jump on things, so just gotta.
But
whoa.
basically, one of the biggest things actually, like talking about quitting jobs, allegedly, for legal reasons, I had COVID for about a week, and I was able to just for that whole week I was staying at home, right? And allegedly I was able to work on this other job, and I was able to make stupid money during that week because I could just fully focus on that. And I remember something that a lot of kids kind of lack, depending on which background they have, when it comes to where they come from, and how wealthy they were as kids or how fortunate they were, right? Is I would literally not eat my first meal till I made a sale that day. So that would physically make me hungry. So I could be like, well, if you do not make this cash, you're not eating that day. So it would create an actual physical need to make that money, right? So I'd be extra hungry during those days. I'd be extra performant, and that was the type of hunger you had to have as a kid to really like push through that barrier and just really just start really denting that matrix that you kind of have for yourself, and being programmed for all that stuff.
I mean, we were pushing ourselves to the max.
Yeah.
But sure. I did that, and then I threw up because my body started getting like super weak. Man, I tried to keep up with him, but that morning I remember I threw up because of that, and it was like, oh shit, okay. Even if we don't get sales, we gotta be taking care of ourselves.
But that's something that we did not learn because the person that was training us at the time was doing the same type of thing. So I was just. At that point, you're a sponge. You're like, well, this guy's making this much money. He was that age.
He was in the hospital like
every other day. So like, but for us, it's like, holy shit! But he's making all this money, and this he does. Well, I'm gonna do the same thing, right? Because you're a sponge at that age. Whatever you see is making someone money, you're like, well, let me do exactly that, and let me just either like try to make it my put my own grain of salt on it, or let me just do exactly that, right? So that's what I did, and of course, some people are just like, it's not healthy to do that, but some people like. Are able to do it and then need like, let's say, like a really big break for a little bit of time after doing that for extensive amounts of time. But basically just bringing it back to that's what we have to do to really push that veil.
Locking ourselves in a room and just on the phone. I mean, it works.
On the fucking phone every single day, every single hour. Like I remember my screen time was at least 16 hours. 16 hours of straight up in the DMs. Like it was crazy.
I don't know how, but mine was at 21 hours.
I don't know. That's something else, man. But it was crazy.
I remember getting a sale. I only did this once. I got a sale at 3 something in the morning, like close to 4 in the morning. And that was like the first of the month, and I want to get the first sale on the books. I got a lot of respect for it, but like that goes to show like how crazy obsessive we were over it.
Honestly, to make money in that type of sphere, you had to be some type of mentally ill, because you have to have some type of mental illness to be that obsessive about it. Because very much like him, I was up till 5 a.m. closing a guy on a deal on FaceTime because I really wanted that big check. I don't know if it was during the start of March, as I said, I really suck at timelines, but I remember putting in just as much time, especially during like late at night, just to actually just make that sale, and we were on the same page when it came to that. Honestly.
I remember you like saying you were talking to leads like on your bathroom break at work, or you were on breaks.
I'll go really quickly over my daily routine. So at night, every good day starts the night before. At night, I was sending a bunch of outreach messages. For everybody that doesn't know, outreach is basically just messaging people in a cold manner.
Just reaching out to people.
Exactly. So I would do that for a few hours, at least texting a few hundred people. and then I go to bed. I wake up in the morning as I'm getting ready for my 9 to 5. I'd be replying to them, trying to set like calls for my lunchtime break, right? So work. I was working, and when I could, I'd sneakily go into my phone, see and be able to build a little bit of rapport with these leads to get them on calls. And during that lunch hour break, as soon as I finished eating, I was on the phones for like 45 minutes to an hour. Phones, and go back to work. And then coming back, I was commuting by public transport. I think either by bus or like subway. And I used to set like
you had a Benz.
Yeah, but still, I started to commute all the way to the parking lot to go find my Benz. But still, I was tapping in the phones, right, and trying to set up appointments for that afternoon after work, right, for that evening. And then I just repeat, close a few deals or hop on a few calls, and then the night of, reach out to more people and recycle. I did that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and my whole life was work.
And
everything was work.
And that led us to, I don't know if it was the second month. I think it was the second month. I think the first month we turned into the top 3. We were top 3 earners every single month.
Yeah.
We were only there for 4 months, 3 months. But
I suck with time.
I did, yeah.
I'll let you
stop asking you time frames, but yeah. So 3 months, 4 months, whatever.
Yeah.
We were top 3 every single month. Whether I was at the top, he was at the top, just every single month, and it was like. It was just gaslighting our egos, like letting us think we were masters at sales, at entrepreneurship, at life.
Because when you give the opportunity to and we were both 18 at the time, right? When you give the opportunity to an 18-year-old to make that much money and their financial thermostat is that low, as I said, to us $10,000 was an insane amount of money that we thought would take maybe like years to make, but at least a lot of time and grinding and effort, blood, sweat, and tears. So us making $4,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month and getting very, very close to our goals made us think we were the shit. Because we thought 120 grand a year at our age till like maybe 23, we'd be set, But yeah, so we got started getting a little complacent, a little lazy. Not gonna lie, we started falling into habits of comfort.
I also think I wasn't since I wasn't just I wasn't dependent on the sales income, since I was doing the reselling stuff, sourcing designer.
You didn't have all of that in one basket.
I had random miscellaneous incomes, and I also was doing crypto mining and stuff on the side. But
basically, all you could think of, all the sketch income sources from a pink hair kid, you would be doing.
I was doing a lot of stuff, but legal.
Very legal, very legal. Always legal stuff.
So I think we got comfortable because for me, I wasn't just dependent on that. I had other things.
For sure.
And then you made a shit ton of money from it. So
yeah.
And then
I got a little.
And you got the AMG, and that's when
Yeah, going crazy.
So we ran it up. We started experiencing different we didn't really get different lifestyle just yet back then.
We had a taste of it, I'd say.
Because we were reinvesting a lot of it. I know I paid for a couple mentorships. I threw a lot of it into clothing brand stuff.
I did a lot of educational stuff. I spent a lot of money on self-education, because honestly, guys, a lot of people say, what's the best $1,000 I could spend or invest? I would say, as much as I thought about it, invest into yourself. Make sure that whatever you are getting is credible and we will give you some type of use case. But it is always investing into yourself, and I was very heavy on it since the beginning.
It was pretty ironic because we spent the money we did expect to make it for a whole year plus.
Yeah.
But we did spend it smart. We didn't. It was all investing. We just did it.
We had some type of financial literacy because we were past endeavors.
Yeah.
We weren't just having a lot of money.
We had things we wanted to invest into in our heads.
So. Yeah. So we weren't dumb. We weren't as dumb, I'd say. We weren't as dumb as the typical 18-year-old that has no financial literacy, but we were still pretty dumb.
The AMG is an asset, so.
It is an asset. Okay, let's not get started on the AMG, but yeah.
Yo, that was that. I bought the Cartier. We got some watches.
Yes,
but
sir.
Besides for that, we were pretty smart. Anyways.
Yes.
So we ended up splitting ways with that company. There's a lot of we moved up to the point that we were managing sales teams. We had a lot that we had involved ourselves with, and it just wasn't paying off. Not even just money, but like respect. There's a lot.
There's a lot of things. You know, there's also the fact that we as people, even in business, have very, very strong moral compasses. We have very, very strong like moral compasses. So as soon as something doesn't make sense to us morally, as much money as we are making, at some point, as soon as we start to see either the consequence or how much things are not exactly priced fairly, we start distancing ourselves and start thinking more ethical ways of making money for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't even we were nowhere near as spiritual as we are now, or believers.
No, but at least we knew it was like hurting our type. It was hurting our heart in a way.
We knew it. Yeah. I mean, it just wasn't. It turned into trying to sell people, rather than having fun in sales.
Or honestly, just giving something that a person needs and solving problems. Right? Sales at the end of the day is making sure that whatever you do give to a person will actually benefit and will actually solve the problems that they're coming to, right?
It stopped aligning with our ethics, and so we jumped ship. And I mean, that was a risk because
oh my god, since as you said, I'm the one that always pushes them.
18-year-olds, we would have easily cleared six figures if we would have that position alone, 6 figures,
easy 6 figures, and we already hit our 10K goal, you know. So, but honestly, it was one of the biggest risks of our lives. And I remember, we spent, I think, it was at least 3 days debating.
It was 3 days.
3 days debating, hey man, should we actually do this? And I was the one being we should, but I'm not sure yet. But I really think, we should really think about what is the future, is this really worth the 6 figures? I remember we had some very, very, deep, comprehensive type of conversations to make sure, we really got to the root of what did we really want from life, and what is business to us, and what did we want to do to the world?
Yeah, and I mean, we had already built up trust in between us, yes. So we knew that alright, we're doing this together.
No matter what.
And I remember you didn't really you knew what you were gonna do. You didn't have too much of you didn't have confusion, or you weren't confused on whether we were gonna do it or not. You were just trying to convince me.
Yeah.
And then you convinced me. We get on the phone. We told them. And then.
And not gonna lie, I was scared shitless, guys, because as I said, we were giving up a big amount of money.
I mean, also we didn't have any. Even though we had other sources of income, we did not.
It did not compare to this type of money.
Yeah.
Honestly. For us to, that's why it was as much as I was trying to be as convincing and as comforting to him as possible to actually jump ship and do something on our own. It was super scary to us, and to me, honestly, a lot. It was really, really scary to jump ship, but every time there's fear, that shows that we should actually face it and go towards it and actually overcome it. And that's what we did.
Yeah. Never looked back. Honestly, never. There was never an ounce of regret.
No.
We got to it right away. And I mean, the thing is, our expenses were super low back then, besides for the AMG. But I mean, we were able to make it off of our other incomes, and plus what we already had from that job, position. But it was there's a risk where it was we'll be okay, but that wasn't. We were so used to more at that point.
Yeah, we had a really hungry mindset, right?
Yeah, we were starving at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, it all had to happen. So anyways, we jumped ship from that company, and then we have an offer from a entrepreneur who we've now parted ways, but I mean, shout out to him. I still got love for him. I'd say that we learned a lot. But yeah, so we get an offer from entrepreneur, and it's to start a marketing agency. And this was before the whole
boom of SMMAs.
Yeah,
and all that. This was really behind all of that.
Iman Gotsi was not,
as big as he was, and people were just we're just starting out. It was not as I said, as popular as it was or it is right now. And we started, and what do you want to continue on that?
Well, back then it was really just the peak was what we were already into, which was growth campaigns and the celebrity giveaways. So we jumped on that, and then we got into a bit more real marketing. It's definitely more real marketing than just giveaways.
For sure.
And so we just spent we're not even gonna dive into set or anything, but we spent 7-8 months developing marketing agency, learned a lot about business,
and mostly honestly ourselves.
For sure.
How we operate together, how we operate individually, who we are as people, how we interact, what's good for us, who's good for us, who's not good for us. It really went, and I feel like these 6 and 7
we
months,
10x ourselves.
I feel like honestly 100x at least. It was very much crazy. So yeah.
I'd say honestly, we could start wrapping it up. We're gonna do. I'd say we do another one with some, more in-depth conversations. But this was really just reflecting on our 2022 journey.
It has been a year already.
Sheesh.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, bro, let's end our first podcast.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us, guys.
Oh my god,